Paul. 4 Paul, we have a code A. Structural fire at 322 South Lake. Repeat, at 322 South Lake. Code A.
That's us, isn't it?
Yep. They've requested arson investigation.
Code 3.
My name is Barrett, Assistant Sheriff, Los Angeles County. 10 years ago, there was only one man in the sheriff's arson detail, Detective Sergeant Ed Thatcher, Mr. Arson himself. Now we have an entire detail. In fact, when that radio call came in, Thatcher was breaking in the latest edition, Detective Sergeant Bill Dean.
Smell the smoke?
Not yet, do you?
Smells like burning cloth.
Really?
We'll see in a minute.
Hey, you were right, Ed. It's a costume house.
Yeah. Started low near the ground. Let's see what we can get. Now, you better stick close and watch how this works. What a sight. I just got here. Did I miss anything?
10 minutes ago, there was a sort of whoosh, cloud of sparks drifting upward. Terrible. The most terrible thing I ever saw.
I knew it. Got here as fast as I could. I live about 5 miles from here.
I live just around the corner, less than 2 blocks.
How lucky can you be?
People running by the house shouting. I came right down. It's just beginning. I've seen it all.
I wonder what sort of place it was.
The Schmidt Costume Company.
Schmidt Costume Company, are you sure?
I guess I'm sure. My husband worked here.
Here? Your husband?
Foreman for 5 years, Ted Mills. Till they laid him off last week. Hope they're satisfied.
I think I'll take a look at the other side.
Well, Ed, accident or arson?
I want to get a closer look at it.
Mr. Eustace Ted Mills, huh?
We'll get their address for the packing house people in the morning.
They had a pretty strong motive.
Take any motive from the book. One time or another, it's been strong enough for arson.
What about him?
See what you can get on.
You coming?
No, I want to check something over there where the section gang's helping the farm.
Come on, fellas, let's get this stuff out of here.
Hey, that's a nice camera. What apps are you shooting at?
3.5. It's best for night fires.
Oh? I like 5.6 myself. I've got a speed graphic.
Every man to his own cut of mutton. Tremendous. Boy, what a print I'll get out of that one. You remember the Jones box and crate yard fire? The last one?
No.
Oh, what detail. You can see every lick of flame. But the Grant Lumber Company, oh, those were my greatest pictures. You can't believe them.
I've got a pretty good collection of night fires myself.
Have? Where are you from?
San Francisco. Oh, I've got some beauties from up there. Why?
Well, I knew you weren't from around here, missing our big ones. Why don't you bring them around tomorrow?
What's it?
Tomorrow's Sunday. Why don't you stop by my place? Anytime in the afternoon, I'll be there.
All right. Where'll I find it?
819 South Sierra. Name's George Eldridge. See ya.
Why don't you take off your coat? You gonna work like that?
No, this is okay.
No, it's sure nice of you to pitch in. Most guys just gawk.
The same to you.
Oh, we had to. They come over and drafted the whole section gang.
This fire's sure a rough one. You're sure no one was hurt?
No, I know they wasn't. We've been here almost from the start.
You just gave me an idea.
What's that, Ed?
You guys were drafted for this job. I wasn't. What am I doing here?
Well, hey, you can't leave before the fire's out.
Oh, no, you can handle it. You're doing fine. See you later, Louis.
See you, Ed. Louis Johnson, one of the section gang.
Don't you ever talk to a guy without getting his name and address?
Never. What about the man with the camera?
Now, let's see. Name, George Eldridge. Address, 819 South Sierra. He has pictures of the Jones Box and Craig Yard fires. Emphasize the last one. Also the Grant Lumber Company. I'm invited to see his collection of fire pictures tomorrow afternoon.
Good.
Well, don't you want to talk to him now?
Oh, he'll wait till tomorrow. Nothing more we can do here now. This fire will burn all night.
So what'd you find out?
About what?
Well, you said you want to take a closer look at it.
Oh, well, we'll examine the ashes tomorrow morning. There's no doubt about it. It's an incendiary fire.
The 16 recent fires clustered in the eastern area. Ed, you said you thought that those were the work of one pyromaniac.
That's right.
But why couldn't he have moved tonight to the Rivera district for number 17?
He or she could.
Oh, you're thinking about Mrs. Mills, the woman you talked to tonight.
Well, at least we know that she could have had a motive for this one.
On the other hand, we know that this camera bug that Bill turned up, George Eldridge, that's the name, isn't it, Bill?
That's it, Lieutenant.
We know that Eldridge was at the fire in Rivera tonight, and also present at 2 of the 16 fires up here.
That much we know.
Well, Bill, if Eldridge is our man, your first one's a real plum. The most destructive arsonist in the history of California crime.
Well, I couldn't have spotted him without Ed's help. He was too conspicuous for Ed to miss.
Wait a minute. Ed, you've been at every major fire in Los Angeles County in the past 20 years.
That's right, Carl.
And you've never seen Eldridge at a fire before tonight?
Oh, I've seen him lots of times. He sells used cars down in Figueroa.
Oh, wait a minute. What's going on here?
Take it easy, Bill.
Look, I've seen him lots of times. He's seen me lots of times. I just thought that Bill could get something fresh out of him.
Yeah, but why do you let me stand here making a fool out of myself?
How do you figure? He's still a top suspect. We'll question him tomorrow. I'm going on home, Dawn. I'll call you in the morning.
Just a minute, Ed.
Yeah?
Your mind is working on something. What is it?
Well, I have a feeling about this fire, Dawn. It's just a hunch. But give me the night to think it over.
Okay, Ed.
I'll pick you up about 10, Bill. And you better wear your old clothes. We're going digging through some ashes.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.
Well, I guess I had no right to pop off at him like that.
Sure you did. But he isn't after your glory, Bill, or mine either. He wants only one thing, truth about fire.
Yes, I know that.
He's lived fire all his life. One of Ed's hunches is worth 2 eyewitnesses any day.
Thanks, Lieutenant. Oh, here's more, alligatoring. Now, you say the depth of the char in the wood shows the direction the fire burned in, huh?
That's right.
Well, then, that means... Well, this looks like another cause right here.
Yeah, that is. That's the third set. This fire was started in 3 different places.
Well, that's why you had the photographer take a shot at this spot, too, huh?
That's right, just like homicide. Don't let anybody move anything until the photographer gets it just as you found it. What do you hear from the ashes?
What?
Lieutenant Saxon says ashes will whisper, but you got to get close enough to hear them talk.
Oh. Well, looks like the other places. Newspapers and rubbish.
Oh, Sonny.
Hi,
What's your name?
Frankie.
You live around here?
Sure, only a couple blocks away. 322 Bonham. What you doing?
Well, we were working here last night.
Are you fireman?
No, no.
Oh, I get it. You're with the guys they got from the railroad.
Oh, that's about it. I lost a key ring and I was,
Well, I didn't see you here last night.
Well, that makes us even. I didn't see you either, but you were here, huh?
I'll say, the biggest, best fire I've seen in all my life. Took all night to put out.
Frankie, there was a lot of wealth destroyed in that fire last night. Years and years of a man's hard labor.
They got insurance. Plenty. What time is it?
11:30. Why?
Oh, my gosh. I'm supposed to meet my mom in church.
Oh, he probably got that insurance stuff from his dad.
Maybe.
What's the matter, Ed?
These aren't just newspapers. These are funny papers.
That would be something, wouldn't it?
Something not very pretty.
We have a code A, structural fire at 688 South Montecito. Repeat, 688 South Montecito, code 1.
Fort Paul, 10-4.
About 5 blocks from here.
688 South Montecito?
St. Anthony's Church. The chief said it was in the closet in the vestibule. Rubbish and newspapers. Hardly got started.
You saw Mrs. Mills out there.
Well, she only lives 7 or 8 blocks from here. She might be a member of the congregation.
I'll check that.
Later.
You see something?
You see how it's done? You empty a box of rubbish and tin it with newspapers. You see that boy Frankie outside?
No, he wasn't there. The only one I recognized was Mrs. Mills.
This is the first time I ever ran into a comic book. I think we better have a talk with the priest.
Well, at least we know Mrs. Mills was a member of this congregation. Nobody ever heard of a boy named Frankie.
Well, we'll have to hear all their stories.
Starting with Eldridge?
Well, it doesn't matter, but while we're in the neighborhood, why not talk to Louis Johnson?
Who?
Louis, you know the fellow I was working with in the section gang?
Oh. Is he a suspect?
Bill, everybody at an arson fire is a suspect. You have to talk to them all.
Okay. Where'll we find him?
The bunkhouse and the freight yard is only about a block from here. Hi there.
Yeah?
You're with the railroad section gang, aren't you?
That's right.
Well, don't you remember me? I was working with you fellows in the fire last night. I was next to Louis Johnson.
Oh.
I'd like to talk to Louis for a minute. Is he in the bunkhouse?
No, he's not there.
How long ago did he go out?
A couple of hours, I guess. Louis in trouble or something?
Oh, no. I just wanted to talk to him. How long have you known him?
Quite a while. Nice guy.
What's your name?
Joe?
You say he's a nice guy?
Yeah. Quiet, cheerful, always helping out people. Even stray dogs and cats, too. Just a nice guy.
Hi, Louis. Hi, Ed. Bill and I were just talking to Joe about the fire last night.
Oh? You an inspector, Ed?
Oh, something like that. Do you think you could tell us anything you saw that was strange or unusual?
No. It was an accident, wasn't it, Ed? Fires like that happen all the time.
Yes. How long you worked in the section gang?
Oh, about 6 weeks now.
Where'd you work for then?
Factory over on Firestone Boulevard.
Why'd you leave?
Just restless.
Where were you fellas when the fire broke out last night?
The bunkhouse. Me and Joe was going to a Saturday night dance.
Oh.
That's right. These guys come in and said, get out of them clothes and into work fatigues. You're fighting a fire.
Yeah. Gee, I'm sorry I can't help you better, Ed.
Oh, that's all right. Every little bit helps. So long.
See you, Joe.
Thanks.
after Mr. and Mrs. Mills. There's the boy Frankie, if we can find him.
We'll find him.
You know, I hope that kid's okay.
No, I think he's okay. We'll check them all.
Mind if I ask a question?
Go ahead.
There must have been at least 15 men in the section gang working on the fire, but you were only interested in one man out of all 15, Louis Johnson. Why?
Remember I told Don I had a feeling about this fire?
Yeah, I remember.
It was Johnson. One thing about him made him stand out above all the others.
What was that?
Well, he worked hard in the fire. Not the others. They just dogged it. Johnson went all out. Just a hunch. Still bothers me.
For Paul, possible code A, 22 Archmont. A structural fire at 22 Archmont, across from Rivera Freight Station.
Just 6 blocks from here. Keep a sharp eye out for a familiar face.
For Paul, 10-4.
Nothing. Check the outside of the building. I'll take this side. What happened, Louis?
Market just started burning. I seen it, and I turned in the alarm, then I come over to do something. The other side's burning too fast. We got this put out, didn't we?
What's the date? Today's paper. Afraid I'm going to have to ask you a couple of questions, Louis.
Well, sure, Ed, but I told you all I know.
You won't mind going downtown with us?
Well, no, I don't care. I'll go anywhere. I want to do everything I can to help.
Thanks, Louis.
Why'd you start that fire, Louis?
I've never set no fires.
Morning of May 10th, where were you?
When?
Between 12:45 a.m. and 4:20 a.m., there were 7 major fires in less than 4 hours. All in the area between North Aiken and Lockwood Avenue.
Oh, I was home in bed. I remember now. I was sleeping home in bed.
You mean to say you didn't get up to see what was happening? 7 major fires in the district where you used to live?
I don't remember. I must have slept through it all.
Then you moved to the Rivera district, and the fires went with you.
Look, I never set no fires. I hate fires. I always try to put them out.
What sort of a record do you have?
No record. I never bothered nobody.
Oh, we see. Should be in by now.
Could I have a drink of water?
Sure. Louis, if you've had trouble, why not tell me before the lieutenant comes back in?
Look, I never had no trouble, Ed. I never bothered nobody.
Good, Louis. If you've had no trouble before, well, there's no trouble now.
Well, I don't get it. I was trying to put them fires out. You seen me.
Which fires, Louis?
Well, the costume house and the market. You seen me, Ed. You helped me put them out yourself.
No record, huh, Louis? What about this federal reformatory in Wisconsin before you came to Los Angeles?
Well, that was a mistake. A mix-up in the Army.
Some mix-up. General court-martial, dishonorable discharge, 10 years at hard labor at Fort Missoula.
They thought I took an ambulance and a jeep. Wasn't even me.
Fort Missoula, Montana. Were you there during the general prison rights of 45 or 46?
He was there.
It's funny, I remember that, except...
Except what, Ed?
Those riots ended in a tremendous fire.
That figures. Ed, you know how I feel about a pyromaniac? The worst breed of criminal. Because once they set their fires, they're out of control. They never know how many lives they're going to take or how much property they're going to destroy.
Look, I never hurt nobody, never, and I never set no fires.
My guess is he's your man, Ed.
Well, I'm afraid I can't look at it that way, Lieutenant.
And don't waste any more time with him.
Louis, I wish that you had the chance that I had when I was a kid.
What was that, Ed?
I lived with a fireman for 3 weeks. My folks went to Chicago, and I lived there and attended every fire, day and night.
You did?
Then we moved to Seattle. I lived with my uncle. He was a fire buff, you know, an amateur fireman. And he had an alarm in his own house. And he had his own big hat. He bought me one, too, a great big red and white chief's hat. And the bell would ring, we'd grab those hats, and away we'd go. And he had a pass that would take us right through the fire lines.
You mean they let you work the fires?
Oh, sure they let us work the fires. You know, that's great lumber country up there. Oh, the greatest fires in the world. You have acres and acres of forests burning, and valleys and mountains. And sometimes you would think that the whole world was lighted up, and great trees were ablaze, and they'd fall shouting, and sometimes the fires would sigh.
I know. I know.
Well, Louis, I thought those were the greatest fires in the world, but they weren't. I saw greater fires right here. Why, that last Jones Box and Craig fire, that lighted up the whole city. And I saw every fire that yard had, all 6 of them. Why, for 5 consecutive Sundays at 8:15, that yard would catch fire. It's one place or another, and every fire was greater than the other. And then for 5 weeks, there was nothing. I used to drive past that yard, and I saw those boxes and crates stacked high. And I wondered why there was no fire. Then came another one on a Sunday at 8:15, and the whole yard caught fire at once. And that fire was greater than all the 5 fires put together, greater than the forest fires and the mountains. And the flames leaped to the top of the sky, the tallest flames I'd ever seen. Was that your greatest fire, Louis?
No. No. The Granite Lumber Company, that was my greatest. The great.
The highest achievement of a pyromaniac, a lumber yard.
Look out!
Why the funny papers, Louis?
Those are big guys in the funny paper. Now, they can do anything. They know everything. They're big guys.
Why did you set those fires, Louis? Did you want to hurt somebody?
I never hurt nobody, never. Every building had to have 2 fire escapes or I wouldn't burn it. I always insisted on 2 fire escapes. If nobody's seen it, I always turned in the alarm myself.
But why did you set those fires, Louis? Why did you set them?
You know, Ed. The fire and the excitement and then the crowds. And I stand there listening to the firemen and the policemen and the crowd trying to figure out how it started. And I'm a big guy, and in the whole world, I'm the only one who really knows what happened. You understand, Ed? The big guy.
I understand, Louis. Shall we go?
We've found that the motivations of the pyromaniac are the most illogical and difficult to understand. Louis Johnson was the most destructive arsonist in the history of California. He set 122 major fires at a total property loss of $3,278,000. Johnson was brought to trial in Superior Court charged with 19 counts of arson. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to state prison on 2 counts from 4 to 40 years. Now may I introduce the sheriff of Los Angeles County, Eugene W. Biscaloose.
Friends, the members of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department are pleased to furnish technical advice for Code 3, so you may enjoy an authentic presentation of law enforcement. I hope you'll be with us again next week. Thank you very much.